Crane the Cowboy back with you talking politics, and you know what's bothering me, Patrick, I go around and I meet a lot of young folks and I ask them, because I guess we're so immersed in politics on this website, what are your thoughts about the election? And to a person they're saying, oh, I'm not going to vote, it doesn't really matter, or I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, and then you and I were looking at the video where we saw these kids at Yale University, one of the most prestigious universities in the country. In fact, a lot of our leaders, so-called leaders, have come from there. And the guy's walking around with a petition and he says, oh, we want to get rid of the First Amendment. And the young people go, cool, I want to sign that. I want to get rid of the First Amendment. I mean, these kids are so dumb they don't know sheep shit from Arbuckle's coffee.
The First Amendment, the one being giving us the right of free speech, free assembly, freedom of worship.
Yeah.
Kind of an important amendment.
Well, I mean, without the first, there ain't the second, there ain't the third, there ain't the fourth, there ain't none of them.
Right.
So we got to, educate these people. But again, it also points to a larger issue, the lack of civic education in America.
Yeah.
The kids don't get taught this anymore. When we were kids, you had to learn certain things by rote. You had to recite the Gettysburg Address. Now people say, well, that's not the way to teach people anymore. The problem is it got you to think and you got you to learn and it got you to appreciate what the hell this stuff was all about. These kids nowadays, if you ask them about American history, they go, huh? If you ask them about Kim Kardashian, they know her measurements.
That's right. They don't know the Third Amendment, the First or the Second, but they can tell you how big her butt is.
Yeah, and quite frankly, that's a whole nother zip code right down there. By the way, anybody wants to know the difference between sheep shit and Arbuckle's coffee, give us a message and I'll let you know.
It's the size of the beans. Well, wrapping this up, voter apathy is becoming a problem. Last election, 60% of the voters stayed home. Asked Mitt Romney about that. And the Dominican Republic, places like that, Belize, are going to turn out more voters on a percentage basis than we will. Donald Trump is stirring things up. He's got people talking. Now he's got to get them voting. Yeah,
and I think this is going to be a high turnout election. If you look at registration in California is up, registration around the country is up. You got a lot of new voters who've been brought into the process by Donald Trump. And they're kind of Donald Trump voters. They're not going because, gee, I want to participate in the civic life of our country. They're going, I want Donald Trump to come fix things. Right. We'll see how that plays out later, and will those people stay engaged? But I'm more worried about the young folks who don't know anything, and they're pretty close to taking over this country.
And you were talking earlier off camera about some of the pundits, how they're weighing in, and we're not going to name names, but they're all in their 20s or early 30s, and they really haven't had much of a life experience. They jump right out of college to go to work in Washington inside the bubble.
Yeah, they haven't even been on a campaign, most of these people. I look at Rich Lowry, and I will mention a name.
They haven't thrown up in a basket at St. Louis University. They haven't had no sleep, lost their luggage 6 times, those kind of campaigns.
Or else you're out with the candidate, you come back to campaign headquarters, and all the pizza's gone, and guess what you get to eat? You get to eat the cardboard with the pizza sauce on it. So they don't have any experience, and they're complaining about how the country's run. These guys ought to get spanked and go home.
By the way, if you enjoyed staying up all night doing your college finals, multiply that by about 14 weeks. That's a campaign.
Yeah.
That's the Cowboy. I'm Crane. We'll be back soon.